Lila woke with a jolt. Darkness pressed in from all sides, heavy and suffocating. A sharp pain throbbed behind her eyes. Where was she? Panic tightened its grip, squeezing the air from her lungs. Her fingers scraped against rough stone. The air hung thick and still, heavy with the smell of damp earth and something else. Something metallic and strange. She scrambled to her feet, her hands outstretched, bumping into cold, damp walls. The floor was uneven, slick with moisture. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through the fog of her disorientation. This wasn't right. This wasn't the familiar comfort of her bedroom. This was wrong. Lila fumbled in her pocket, and her fingers closed around the smooth, cold plastic of her radio. She clicked it on, desperation surging. Static, just a hiss of white noise. She twisted the dial, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. Silence. Emptiness. Then, a voice. Faint, barely audible, a whisper carried on the edge of hearing. "Lila," it hissed. "Lila." Her breath hitched. The voice, thin and reedy, seemed to slither around the edges of her awareness, coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Who's there?" Her voice echoed strangely in the confined space, bouncing off the unseen walls. Silence. She strained to listen, every nerve ending on high alert. Had it been her imagination? The oppressive darkness seemed to press closer, suffocating, alive. The whisper came again, closer this time, sending a shiver down her spine. "Lila, they're coming!" Panic flared, hot and bright. Who was coming? What did they want? She had to get out of here. Now! A noise, a scraping sound, like something heavy being dragged across the stone floor. It echoed from the depths of the darkness ahead. Lila's blood ran cold. Something was down here with her. Something that knew her name. Footsteps now, slow and deliberate, coming closer. She backed away, her pulse hammering in her ears, until her back hit the cold, damp wall. There was nowhere left to go. Her hand trembled as she tightened her grip on the radio, her knuckles white. The footsteps stopped. A long, drawn-out silence stretched, punctuated only by the frantic beating of Lila's heart. Then, a low growl, guttural and menacing, ripped through the silence. Terror lent speed to her limbs. She spun, scrambling blindly along the rough stone wall, her only thought escape. The tunnel opened into a small chamber. 3 passages branched out before her, each one shrouded in darkness. Panic choked her. Which way? She had to choose, and choose quickly. The growling was closer now, closer, and the scraping sound sent shivers down her spine. The first passage sloped upwards, the air growing noticeably colder. The second twisted to the right, a faint light flickering in the distance. The third plunged straight ahead, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. Lila hesitated, her breath catching in her throat. There was no time to think, only to react. She chose the second passage, the promise of light drawing her forward. Sprinting into the darkness, she could hear a distorted echo of her own panicked breaths, as if the tunnel itself was sucking the sound from her lungs. Her pursuer was close now. She could feel its presence, a looming shadow in the darkness.